Welcome to Getting Started in Visual Analytics. Visual analytics is the process of gaining knowledge and insight from data from interactive visual interfaces. This video covers the fundamentals on working with marks and building views. You can download the exercise workbook to follow along in your own copy of Tableau. There are two ways to start analyzing data in Tableau. You can either jump in and start exploring, or you can ask questions of your data and attempt to answer them. We'll start by asking of this dataset, Superstore, what are our sales like over time? If we simply double-click Sales and Order Date, Tableau uses visual best practices to create a timeline, and we see our sales are increasing over time. Note that the mark type here says Automatic. This illustrates how thinking of a practical question can be a good starting point for analysis, and how Tableau will try to automatically leverage best practices using the fields we're interested in. We could change this to another mark type if we had reason to do so. There's a long list of mark types available to work with, each of which has specific characteristics. One thing to note is if the mark type is automatic, it may change as the view is modified. Let's ask another question. What is the relationship between shipping cost, double-click to bring it out, and profit, double-click again? This time, we're given what looks like the start of a scatter plot. However, Tableau is aggregating our data to the overall sum of shipping cost and the sum of profit. So we have one mark, sum of profit by sum of shipping cost. If we'd like to see more marks, we can either disaggregate the data by going to the Analysis menu and unchecking Aggregate Measures to see each row of data plotted as a point, or we can bring another field out into the view to change our breakdown of marks. This is an important concept in Tableau. Measures, here, are automatically aggregated to the granularity of the view. The granularity is set by dimensions and how they're asked to interact with the marks. For example, if we bring Product Category to the Color shelf, we now get a uniquely colored mark per category, showing the sum of shipping cost and profit for that category. If we bring another field, say Market, to Shape, we get a mark per category per market for 15 marks. Dimensions define the number of marks, which we can always see down here at the bottom left. It's easy to change our mind and color by something else. If we want to have order priority on color instead, we simply drop it on the category pill with that color icon. Note that when we add order priority to color, we wound up with a mark per order priority per market for 20 marks. There are 4 levels of order priority and only 3 categories, so we wind up with more marks when we use order priority instead of category. Again, dimensions define the number of marks or the granularity of the view. If we want to make marks at a certain granularity, but without encoding by color or shape, we can bring the field to the level of detail shelf. It's important to know how adding dimensions to the marks card impacts the visual. The better understanding we have of this behavior, the more precisely we can build graphs manually or leverage what Tableau can do automatically. When we hover over the legend for order priority, note that this icon is shaded. This means that highlighting is on for order priority. If we click on a priority, say Critical, Tableau will lighten the other colors to pull out the critical orders visually. Category does not have highlighting turned on. If we click on Furniture, nothing happens. Clicking on the highlight icon turns this feature on. Now Furniture is highlighted in the view. We can also show a highlighter for one or more dimensions that are not encoded by color or shape just by turning on the data highlighter. Right-click on a dimension in the view, such as Market on the detail shelf, and select Show Highlighter. Now we can highlight a market such as Asia Pacific, or any of the other markets in the view. Highlighting can be a great way to call attention to specific marks. In dashboards, Highlighting actions can provide interactivity, even across worksheets using that field. In Stories, highlighting can be saved to preserve a specific selection by updating the point. Another way to get started with visual analytics is to use Show Me. Control-click multiple fields you want to use. We'll use the same ones we were working with: order priority, market, shipping cost, and profit. And then open Show Me in the upper right-hand corner. Here we can see the one-click graphical options for representing the fields we've selected. The orange box indicates visual best practices. Remember, Show Me is just a starting point for creating visual analysis in Tableau. Once we have the basics of visualizations, we can use the Marks card and many other features to modify the view to make it exactly what we want. Thank you for watching the Visual Analytics Getting Started video on working with Marks. We invite you to continue with the Visual Analytics series to learn more.